A federal judge just exploded in the courthouse and ripped the Trump regime a new one. Judge Zia Faraqui looked at the Trump regime lawyers with all of the hell they're unleashing in Washington, D.C. and in streets across the United States with their Gestapo. And as they try to arrest people who are peacefully protesting, the federal judge erupted. And as Scott McFarlane writes, the judge said, "We are past the point of a constitutional crisis council looking at Trump's Department of Justice lawyers. This is embarrassment and shame for the government, for the United States." The judge looked at the Trump DOJ lawyer and said, "Shame on you. You are a shameful human being. This is a rush to get stats on Twitter or social media. This is not what you do in the real world. In the real world, you pursue actual crimes, not reposts on social media platforms or so Donald Trump can do truth social memes. This is the United States of America, damn it." So let's talk about what went down. So a hearing was held where the federal government, they had pursued charges against someone by the name of Edward Dana, who they claim broke a light fixture, was drunk, and was shouting a bunch of things. "Oh, Trump's part of the Russian mafia. You're all mafia people." And he was jailed for a week. And then they were trying to potentially pursue charges against the guy who may have been mildly inebriated and exercising his First Amendment rights. And they locked him up. They detained the guy, and they were going to potentially bring major federal charges like they've been doing over and over again. And one of the things you'll note, we've been covering it here on the MeidasTouch network, is that grand jury after grand jury, the Trump regime has failed to secure indictments when in a grand jury room, the only lawyers that are there are the DOJ lawyers. They're presenting cases in the grand jury saying, "Get this crap out of here." So the judge says we are long past the Rubicon here when it comes to the Constitution. The judge apologized to the individual who was wrongfully detained. And then the judge said, "We're acting like this is all normal. This is not normal. You," referring to the Trump DOJ, "are not serious people. You are playing cops and robbers like children. You are a bunch of children. Do you understand me?" Then the judge continued to talk about it, what's going on in Washington, D.C. What's to prevent people here from just getting rounded up off the streets? So apparently you all, the feds, have time to collect stats and have press releases. But what are you doing for people who are unlawfully detained? While you're out there with your marketing campaigns and with Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, people are rotting away in prison while you engage in this fascist cosplay. The judge went on to blast the Justice Department for their sloppy work, for their corrupt work, for their anti-democratic work. And the judge noted how frequently grand juries have been rejecting the Justice Department's attempts to get indictments over and over again. He blasts the Justice Department for saying, "You're working out the kinks? That's what you're trying to do? These are people with names and rights, and you're torturing them, and you are ruining their lives." The judge ordered the Justice Department to make a filing by 5 p.m. Say, "Explain to me everything you did in this case and how you did it so bad." It's September 4th, the judge said. "As of now, we still have a constitutional democracy. So as long as we have a constitutional democracy, I am going to serve as a federal judge and do my duty. Do you understand me?" The judge then said, "It's not even that you're losing credibility in this court and before courts across the country. We are way past this point." The judge points out that the cases filed during the Trump police surge in D.C., the volumes of motions to dismiss raise grave concerns. People like Mr. Dana who you're now having to dismiss his case are suffering the consequences. You've created this mess. You've created a mess. There are way too many misfires here, as you are now referring to him as. He says the feds are operating under a concept of, we'll just arrest people and then we'll see what happens. The defense attorney spoke briefly in court and said the criminal case was ridiculous. She said even a 15-year-old would know that this case was not a criminal threat against the president. The judge then asked out loud, what amount of money undoes the harm to those charged in these dismissed cases? He suggests a defense attorney that she seek a remedy against the government for this case. Go and sue him. The judge said, sue these people. About the military who are now being designated to help the U.S. Attorney Office in D.C. handle a wave of cases in this federal crackdown in D.C., which isn't a crackdown, let's just call it what it is, an authoritarianism, fascist cosplay ridiculousness. The judge wonders why none are being deployed to help the federal defenders manage an exhausting caseload. The judge says about the people whose cases are being dismissed, these arrests that you're making will be on their record. It'll impact the arc of someone's life forever. The prosecutor tells the judge that the case was initially authorized by a superior, and the judge is like, I don't care. Who are you blaming it on? Jeanine Pirro? The judge then slammed the U.S. Attorney for D.C., Jeanine Pirro, and the head of its criminal division for not showing up in court to explain the decision because the DOJ lawyer was saying, it wasn't me, it was my higher-ups. It was Pirro. It was the head of the criminal division. The judge said, so I get it. You all have time for press conferences. You all have time for tweets. You all have time for going on Fox, but not for actually dealing with the implications of your mistakes. Scratch that. Of your assault on people's rights. Finally, the judge looked at the defendant whose charges were being dismissed and said the government's message to people who look like Mr. Dana is be very afraid. The judge says, I'm afraid right now. And then the judge said, basically, get the hell out of here. That's what's going on in our courtrooms across the country. And you see, for example, right here, ICE beginning to arrest a woman outside their domestic violence hearings starting in Chicago. One woman had the case dismissed by the judge only to be immediately detained by agents. Women are being forced to choose between staying in abusive relationships or potential deportation. The network advocating against domestic violence is encouraging all survivors to file for order of protections online and not schedule in-person hearings. Here, watch this.
Witnesses tell us that agents took at least one person into federal custody ahead of their scheduled court appearance. Our Sabrina Francis has been looking into that case. Sabrina, victim advocates are saying that this has people turning away from their scheduled appearances.
Marie, it would appear that's already happening. We were standing in the lobby of this courthouse today, and while we were there, folks were asking for people who would otherwise be in court, whether they be defendants or plaintiffs in cases that were heard today. Those people were not there, and the reason given, they were too afraid to be there. The courthouse at 555 West Harrison opens at 8:30 each weekday. One woman, whose name we are withholding because of the nature of her case, was set to appear at 9 a.m. We're told she didn't make it there. She was arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, according to this court document. Witnesses say they saw this man, who they believe to be a federal officer, assist in her arrest outside the courthouse about 15 minutes before her scheduled time to appear. A victim advocate asked why she was being arrested and told us an agent said, quote, "We're going to speak to her about her immigration status," before putting the woman in handcuffs. CBS News Chicago has learned the woman in this case was the accused abuser, arrested by the Chicago Police Department and charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of domestic battery. Court records say the charges were dropped today.
Sounds like as soon as we got word, my advocates and a bunch of other advocates and legal aid attorneys came down and started passing out Know Your Rights information.
Tessa Kuipers works as a victim advocate at the courthouse. She says she worries this will deter victims of domestic violence from reporting their abusers.
Just making people survivors unsafer, right? Obviously, survivors are going to know ICE was here. They're going to have hesitancy about seeking protections, about connecting with their advocate and orders of protection and criminal charges that might be a tool for safety for them.
The CEO of the network advocating against domestic violence encouraged virtual hearings moving forward, adding in part, quote, "These actions will undermine survivors' trust in our legal system to be a resource for them and will discourage survivors from coming forward if they fear immigration will be at their next court hearing and take their loved ones." Now, there has been a call for support here at the courthouse tomorrow morning. Volunteers asked to show in front of the courthouse with Know Your Rights material. We expect to see some sort of demonstration here. Then, meantime, we have reached out to ICE for a comment on all of this and are still waiting to hear back. We're live in the West Loop. Sabrina Franza, CBS News, Chicago.
And in this next video, I'm going to show you unknown officers arrest an Ohio woman, hand her over to ICE in a secluded parking lot. Officers reach in through the car window and forcibly drag her out after refusing to show a badge number. They then drive her around town to the back of a bank parking lot. They hand her over to a group of men that she later learned were ICE agents. At least one of the officers detaining her in this video appears to be wearing an ATF badge. Marlon Ortiz Soto is a 24-year-old woman who is legally seeking asylum from violent attacks against her in Honduras. She was scheduled to attend a hearing on her case in September. Now she's locked up without bail in Butler County, Ohio. Watch what's going down. Here, play this clip.
Can I get his badge number? Can I get the rest?
Deal with that.
Can I please?
I don't have everyone's badge number memorized.
Please, can I talk to them?
In video shared with WCPO, you see a tense back and forth with officers. Flores repeatedly asking officers to identify themselves. After a while of that, this happens.
Please identify yourself, sir. You're not identifying yourself, please. Hey, no. Hey, don't.
Eventually, officers appear to open both the driver and passenger side doors, and they begin to pull the couple out of the car.
Hey, you can't touch her, man. Identify yourself.
One officer appears to have a Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, or ATF vest on.
She is extremely scared in this video. She doesn't know what's happening. She's not being told what's happening.
Attorney Krishna Mahadevan says after this, Ortiz Soto was arrested by officers and handed over to ICE.
They took her back to their vehicle and then drove her to a local U.S. bank parking lot where they handed her over to actual ICE agents.
Mahadevan says Ortiz Soto has an ongoing asylum claim from 2019. Are we aware of why the family wanted asylum?
It involves the individual is from Honduras and fears returning to that country due to violence that happened in the past. But unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to discuss the details of that.
He says his client followed all the rules and regularly attended ICE check-ins. Do we know a predicate for why they decided to stop this particular vehicle?
She did not know why they were stopped.
Now Ortiz Soto sits inside the Butler County Jail awaiting a bond hearing, hoping her case is heard fairly. WCPO reached out to Fairfield Police several ways Wednesday, but we have not heard back.
They should keep in mind that this is a young woman who is found some success and happiness here in the United States. She started her own business. She's hopefully found love here in the United States with her boyfriend.
In Cincinnati, Jay Shakur, WCPO 9 News.
And finally, I want to show you this. And this is how Christopher Webb puts it. As a parent, as an aunt, as an uncle, as a grandparent, as a human being, if you don't feel for this young woman and see the injustice here, you're dead inside. Deported to Guatemala, this young woman, she's an honor student, a track star. She doesn't speak Spanish. She doesn't even know Guatemala. And this isn't the worst story out there, not by a long shot. She had no idea where she was going when they deported her. This is what the Trump regime is doing. This is what that federal judge was pissed about. Here, play this clip.
What's it like to be living here instead of your house in Westlake?
It's really hard. I have a cat. It really hurts me, like him being in my house, and like maybe he thinks like I just abandoned him. Oh. So it really hurts me just be here and like not knowing what's gonna happen. Your cousin Yuri, when we stood across the street from your house, she said, Nori's
bedroom is in the back. She kind of pointed to where it was. Do you think about your room and
Yes.
all your stuff?
I think about my stuff. I think about my clothes, especially my cat. I really miss him so much.
Are you dreaming about home when you're sleeping?
Yes. I dream about my family, my friends. But it's just really hard.
What's it like when you wake up here?
It's not my home.
She wanted to go to Santa Monica College, which you know, and become a fashion designer.
Yeah.
And then transfer to another college. Just real quick, let me play you a little bit of what she said about not being able to complete her studies there and how important school was to her.
Even though I'm far, I'm still going to keep it up and like not give up. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity they gave me to just study from here. So I'm just really grateful for everything that they're doing. And I'm going to keep it up and not give up.
Is the idea just keep going so that if you make it back soon, you can go to college next year?
If I make it back, I'm definitely going to go to college. Just make my mom proud and make myself proud as well. Make everyone proud.
In terms of their asylum claim, you said that they were fleeing an attempt on the mother's life in Guatemala. Why would that get denied? I mean, I thought that was one of the bars you had to clear, and it sounds like if that's true, why would they not be allowed to stay here?
Such a good question. That's part of the reason that there are lawsuits in federal court about these immigration courthouse arrests, not just in Los Angeles, but also, and most notably probably here in New York at 26 Federal Plaza, where even as people are getting continuations for their cases,
it wasn't like her case was dismissed.
No, they could have stayed. And they tell us, and you can read about it in the article, that, maybe there were some issues with the lawyer. But it wasn't a slam dunk that they were going to have to be deported. She had gone to these check-ins, Nori's mother, time after time, and they said to her, bring Nori next time. And they had no idea that this is what was going to happen, because the way that these things normally play out, you get a continuation to say, come back again, and we'll talk about it in 6 months or a year.
Why is that? Why are there continuations? Why
because the immigration adjudication system is badly broken. It's hugely backlogged. The Trump administration's fix is to not have immigration judges at all, but to have
military judges,
people of Stephen Miller's choosing.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.